The Department of Education has formally apologised to a group of Brighton Secondary students who were the target of anti-Semitic attacks. Now, this in-person apology happened about an hour ago. Here is some of it.
I attend before this congregation to publicly apologise, both on my own part and on behalf of the Department of Education, for the anti-Semitism experienced by students at Brighton Secondary College.
Now, the students who were victim to this all left the school prematurely, 4 out of 5, because of the anti-Semitic bullying. Here's some of what those students had to say in response this afternoon.
I didn't intend to say anything today, but after hearing the apology from the department, I felt I had to. I don't know how the department can stand here and apologise to us, hearing the reports of anti-Semitism still coming out of Brighton Secondary College.
You'll notice I didn't accept an apology from the state. This is because we asked for an apology for 3.5 years and the state refused to do so. Only when forced by a judge to give an apology, they made it as difficult as possible to receive such an apology.
Well, joining me now to discuss this is Dr. Dvir Abramovich, the chairman of the Anti-Defamation Commission. Dr. Abramovich, you were there in person for that apology. The students' reaction was pretty damning.
It was, and it's a pity that the state government had to put those 5 boys through hell, spend $5 million of tax-funded money, and wait for a federal court justice to actually instruct them to do what we all knew was the thing that they had to do, to say sorry for the anti-Semitic abuse, harassment and victimization that these young men underwent at Brighton Secondary College. And this is a stain that will never be removed from the Department of Education and from our state. And therefore I understand the hurt, the outrage and the anger that these boys feel towards this so-called apology.
I wanted to ask you about the impact that you think this whole affair has had on those students.
When I broke this story 4 years ago, I said that there were troubling signs within our educational system, that there is a hidden epidemic of anti-Semitism. And what these boys underwent, which is, by the way, just the tip of the iceberg, shocked everybody to the core. This is a trauma, these are scars that it will take them a very long time to recover from. And it's good to have empty rhetoric and slogans, but what we need is real action. There are Jewish students who don't feel safe walking into class every day, and this is something that the government has to take seriously. This is an evolving problem which is getting worse by the day.
How did you feel sitting there listening to the apology?
It was too late, and the government should have come to the table, as I suggested all these years ago, when we exposed the terrible harassment and victimization that Jewish students were undergoing. They didn't have to go through a court case. They didn't have to put them through so much pain and so much anguish. They should have done the right thing. They should have used that moment as a cleansing moment to bring the victims and the stakeholders together and to say, we are going to push back against the evil of anti-Semitism.
So we are where we are now. I just wonder, what do you think could happen from here to help these students individually, but also more broadly to help the community?
What we need is action on the ground. We need principals, we need coordinators, we need teachers to stop minimizing, ignoring, excusing, dismissing anti-Semitism at schools. Often I hear from principals, often I hear from parents who say to me, we brought a problem to the school and they said kids will be kids, this is not something which is serious. We need teachers, schools and administrators to understand that anti-Semitism is a problem and that if Jewish students are not safe, nobody is safe. And I hope also that the Premier and the Education Minister take the time, I call on them, take the time to meet with those boys and apologise to them in person.
And do you think the department has learned anything out of this whole affair?
Sorry.
Time will tell, although if the past is any indication, I'm concerned that this situation will not be resolved quickly. Again, you can issue an apology, but it's what the Department of Education has to do. The Department of Education has to stop being afraid of using the A word, and that is anti-Semitism. We cannot have a double standard, as Justice Mortimer said, when it comes to Jewish students. Jewish students deserve to be safe in schools, and we need more from the government, and we need more from the Department of Education.
And just quickly before I let you go, I know you said that this is just the tip of the iceberg, what these young boys had to go through. How broad a problem is this in schools in Victoria?
This is an escalating crisis. Not a day goes by where I don't get a phone call from a Jewish parent saying, I'm concerned about the well-being, the mental and the physical health of my child. We have Jewish students being singled out and vilified on a daily basis simply because they are Jewish. This has to stop, all of it.
Dvir Abramovich, we really appreciate your time. Thank you.